and then I was like, sup, though.
So it was late summer and I was working my first well-paying job at a gas station.
Right.
I'd done tons of under-the-table stuff like a bouncer and cleaning up bars when they were closed, but I had become really proud of the fact that I was working this hard. For reference, I'm a male and I was 19 years old at the time.
Whoa.
Anyway, let's call this gas station I was working at the Mel Store. At Mel Store, we had 3 shifts. The morning, the afternoon, and the overnight shifts.
Great shift.
Seems pretty standard for any store that would be working really hard to screw over their employees. What I mean by that is that there are usually supposed to be 3 people working on the first 2 shifts so that everything can be managed without much difficulty.
Right.
Except for the evening shift, which had only 1 person who had to be trained as a supervisor to work. And that was me at the time of this story. I had made it to supervisor in a couple months, which really added to my boosted ego at the time, but then the only other supervisor, we'll call him Jeff, decides to quit and goes to make a living in watchmaking. Anyway, I'm working at the Mel Store on the afternoon shift when I got the news about the other supervisor, because apparently this guy had never heard of a 2 weeks notice before, and I got told I have to pull the late night shift.
Fuck
But
no.
if I do, I get overtime pay and a day off.
So?
I'm pretty stoked about the idea of a day off, so I accept my fate and get ready for a grueling night by telling Tammy, one of our new coworkers, that I'm going to take a nap in the back office to get ready for it and to wake me up when her shift is up so I can start closing down the store. When working the night shift, we have to go ahead and shut the front door, lock it down tight, turn off all the lights, and operate out the window with a neat little box that lets people put in their cash and allows me to give them a few items through it after they pay. This is pretty helpful, mostly when people want to act like drunken idiots who would otherwise trash the store if we would let them in this late.
Okay.
I had maybe 3 customers before midnight struck and I could lock the doors. But as soon as I did, this guy comes out of nowhere in a truck, pulled in like a maniac, and nearly hit the front door to the gas station before screeching to a halt, backing up, and then hopping out. He looked pretty lanky and average in height, so I wasn't really afraid of him.
I'm kind of scared. You know, I'm listening to this shit and I'm scared. Really? You don't feel nothing from this guy that looks crazy, is acting crazy, you know, that's probably saying some crazy shit. You're just acting normal, like the shit is normal. It's not normal for somebody to act, look, and say crazy shit. And if they have all that 3, can't stress me. I'm not opening the door for you. Sorry, partner. And how you gonna come right before I lock up? That's fucked up. You know that's fucked up. But something tells me. See, that's that nice shit. See, I used to be like, I'm a nice person, but when you take advantage of that shit. Ooh, that's a whole different. And it's at night, 3rd shift, at a gas station, dark as fuck. No.
At first, he walked up to the door and stared at me as I tried to tell him through the door that we were closed, but I'd be happy to see him at the window next to the register.
Okay.
He didn't say a word and just kept staring at me before smiling and showing me these nasty cracked yellow teeth that looked like they hadn't been brushed a day in his life.
Wow.
But it's the Midwest, so I'm kinda used to seeing some guys looking like this.
Really?
Then he walked over to the window, but in a really slow way that seemed to be done intentionally to piss me off. So I took my time instead and shut off the main lights to the building, smiling back at him each step of the way, like I was some badass or something. When I got over to the window, he was still smiling, and at this point I assumed he would be drunk, and my hand kinda twitched towards the phone we kept under the register.
He not fucking
But
drunk?
I decided I didn't really have enough proof on that to call the cops. Drinking and driving was taken pretty seriously at the store by the head manager, but we had to be sure before getting the police involved. Finally, he says something, and it catches me off guard. I like a cat in a bag. I raise my eyebrow at him and say, excuse me? You want what now?
Who the fuck says
That's when his eyes narrow and he starts to really study my face and then looks down at my name tag. To me.
That's where you fucked up. He got you. He knows what you look like. He got you locked in his crazy ass brain. And he got your name in his head too. So you fucking bullshitting. That's what you doing. For I don't even know where you started bullshitting, but all I know is you fucking bullshitting. You might get fucked up. I'm not sure. I don't know. The only thing that's separating you from him is a goddamn window, bitch. That's all I'm saying. I don't think I would even have bothered to call the cops because sometimes they be bullshitting too. You know, they be taking hella long to get. That's a whole different. Fuck. I would have covered up my name tag and I would have I would have been like this. I wouldn't even give him my whole face. I would have been like, so what do you want? Just looking at him like this. What do you want? Don't look at my name tag. You want chips? Alright, there you go. Get the fuck out my face. I'll pay for them. Get the fuck out. But no. You want fucking bullshit and whatnot.
Make it clear, I look a little bit like Jeff, the supervisor from before, so what he said next made some sense. Oh, I thought you was Jeff. He leave any of the good stuff for me? An 8-ball maybe?
Fucking racist.
No, I know what an 8-ball is, but only from hearing it on the news and stuff, so I just shake my head at him. A little bit bewildered he'd be so casual about it with someone who he'd never dealt with before. And so I ask him if there's anything else he'd like. He gives me a huff and just says, gas then. He then puts his card in the box and I pull it in. Our practice for this was that if they gave us their card first, we go ahead and let them pump as much as they want and then just swipe their card afterwards. We put a lot of faith into our customers like that, but the policy sort of changed after this for very obvious reasons.
Well, yeah.
So we'll nickname this guy Mark. Mark pulled up to pump 6 and positioned himself so I couldn't really see him pumping gas. So I go back to working on cleaning up the store. 10 minutes later, and I realize the pump never gave a beep for stopping, so I look out the window to check on him.
10 minutes?
And Mark is standing outside of the door, dripping wet in what I assumed at the time was gas. And he's just smiling in at me. I run to the register and hit the emergency off, stopping whatever gas might still be spilling out, and I'm thinking and hoping against all odds that it was all just a mistake or something and that the pump handle broke and just wouldn't stop pumping out gas.
This bitch is
That's
crazy.
when Mark pulls out his lighter and I hit this little pager we have under our register that looks a lot like a garage door opener. It alerts the police and fire department in case of a fire or a robbery. So here I am, 19 and suddenly scared shitless because this crackhead has covered himself in gas and has now started laughing his ass off while trying to start up his Zippo lighter. And the only thing keeping me separated from him is a flimsy glass door. He starts banging on the door with his free hand, still trying to light his lighter, and he's saying something along the lines of, "Tell Jeff I want my stuff." He's repeating this over and over, and I don't get why he couldn't just go bother Jeff instead of me. Well, the police and fire department arrived, but that only made Mark hurry up with his lighter, shouting for them to stay back. To shorten a really gruesome part, Mark lit himself on fire.
Oh, shit.
The firefighters tackled him down and put it out, but he was evading them for a couple seconds, and he was definitely seriously burned before they could put it out. The good news was he didn't catch the gas that was left on the ground on fire. So I had to clean that up with this kitty litter shit we had in the back. I heard a day later that Mark died in the hospital. Mostly because he was hopped up on a bunch of shit on top of the burns that he received. The thing that sticks with me is the smell he left behind just outside the front door where they put him out. That burned skin and hair smell. I quit the next month after putting in my 2-week notice. I couldn't handle the stress of the overnight at that place after that.
The next month? Bitch, I would have left that night. The fuck you mean? Fucking 2 weeks. Nah, bro, you got me fucked up.
To add a bit of backstory, I was an active duty Marine a year prior to this story happening.
Right.
Granted, we're trained to take lives and deploy to other countries to fight. Sad to say that I never got the opportunity to deploy, but if I wasn't trained as a Marine, I honestly think I wouldn't be here telling this story. Now, onto the story. This story took place last year on a cool summer night here in Arizona. I just got off from work and took a coworker home from a late night dinner after the shift. I passed by a gas station after I dropped her off. I was working 2 jobs at the time, so it was already late, around 2 a.m. I knew an energy drink would help me wake up tomorrow morning for my next job. So I was slowly pulling into this empty gas station. I noticed no other cars anywhere. That's when something caught my eye as I was pulling up in front of the entrance. There was a shadowy figure that suddenly pulled up along one of the walls of the gas station and kept creeping along the walls, getting closer as I pulled up.
Nope.
There was some sort of shadowy figure that suddenly pulled up along one of the walls of the gas station. It crept along the walls, getting closer as I pulled up and turned off my car. But at the time I couldn't care less because I was tired and I figured he was just a drunk and about to ask for change or something like that.
Don't.
I saw the outline of his face as he pulled away from the shadows. He opened his mouth to say something, but before he could say anything, I cut him off and said, "Hey, I'll be right back, sir." He just kinda stood there and stared at me as I walked into the gas station. I wasn't even thinking about him because I was tired and just wanted to go home. I swooped up my favorite energy drink and walked up to the cashier. I paid for my drink in a matter of a minute as the cashier wasn't really in any mood to make any small talk. I pushed the entrance door open and I noticed that the man was no longer there. I was looking around for the man as I approached my car to only see him coming from the dark corner again. But something seemed off about him this time. I didn't care to stick around to see what was off about him and went to open my car door.
There you go.
Then I heard rapid footsteps approach from behind me. I turned around as fast as possible to make eye contact with him. He was just staring at me less than an arm's reach away.
Oh.
Every option suddenly ran through my head, screaming at me to just get in the damn car and slam the door.
Fucking bullshit.
But he was already too close for me to try anything without him trying to do something. So I wanted to try and create a peaceful conversation as a desperate attempt to try to get this creep away from me. I said, "Oh, hey, it's you again. Is there something I can do for you?" His whisper had a scratchy tone to it as he said, "Got any change?"
No.
I was actually thrilled. I was happy because I could just give this creep some money as a peaceful resolution. I said, "Sure do. Hold on, I'll dig it out for you."
I almost have no words for this dude. So many red flags. So many points where you were bullshit and tinga. So many points. I don't even know where to fucking start. That's how bad you use. You talk to strangers like this on a regular day basis? Huh? Cause I sure as hell don't. If I do, you best believe it's it's well lit or it's during the day, you know. I'm not about to talk to no creepy to the bone ass person at night. Pitch black. Really, that doesn't, the whole, I'm nervous for you. I'm really nervous for you right now.
By the time I grabbed a fistful of change as I leaned into my car, I heard the passenger door behind me open and then I felt a handful of my hair get pulled into my driver's seat. My hair got yanked back really hard as he whispered, "You fucking scream or yell and I'll fucking kill you."
See? See?
Then I felt a knife slowly glide over my throat. He then whispered, "Understand." I carefully nodded up and down.
See what I'm saying?
He then replied, "Now we're going to New Mexico. Don't do anything stupid or I'll cover your car's interior with your blood."
Right.
At the time I was thinking, fuck, this can't be fucking real. So I had to think and relax. That's one thing my commanding officer said in the Corps. The key to victory is a clear conscience and a cool head.
Okay.
So I asked him, "Okay, how are we doing this? You just gonna give me directions?" I then felt his grip on my hair loosen. "Good, smart kid. I hate when they beg me to let them go. Now use your GPS or whatever." His knife was still gently pressed up against 70% or so of my throat.
Wow.
So I told him I was slowly going to reach into my glove department for my GPS. Then I asked him where in New Mexico we were going. He laughed and told me to just shut up and drive. Why was he laughing now? This guy was a complete psycho. I was there driving and praying in my head for a chance to open where I would be able to fight back. I could tell that his knife was starting to get loose around my neck for every 5 minutes or so that I drove. The knife at the start of this drive was at about 70%, but now it was at around 50%.
Okay.
I had to make a right at the intersection. Finally, I saw an opportunity. I saw this Ford Ranger pickup truck coming down the road I was supposed to join on. In my head, I asked myself, "Do you really want to die a coward?" Then, as I saw the Ford Ranger approach at a rapid rate, I pressed all the way down on the gas pedal. Then, boom. All I remember from all the commotion is the guy leaning back as I slid my hand under his wrist of the hand that was carrying the knife and pinned it against the steering wheel of my car. I can hear the horn blaring, attracting more attention. He let go of the knife and ran out of the car as the intersection made itself known to me again as my surroundings were no longer blurry. I wanted to run after him, but the driver of the Ford Ranger grabbed me and said, "Hey, what the hell happened? Do you have insurance?" I was trying to push through the guy to catch that fucking coward, but the only words that escaped my mouth were, "Don't let him get away!" That's all I was yelling as I saw the dark silhouette of the man disappearing into the darkness. I told the police everything when they arrived. I did everything you're supposed to, but nothing really ever came of it. They didn't see anyone matching my description of the man. I now carry my gun on me and a few knives. So I will never be the victim of something like this again.
Don't forget your new Adidas, you know? Always keep that shit. And you fucked up about talking.
I am a female and I was working the day shift at my job at the gas station in Salt Lake City, Utah. It was fairly quiet and I was by the register doing chores while my assistant manager, Dan, was counting money locked back in the office. It was a Saturday morning and very slow, which was pretty normal on a Saturday. I was cleaning the registers and counters when this tall, lanky guy walks in and I greet him as he quickly walks into the bathroom. He was tan and had dark wavy hair that was unkempt and he was wearing a long green jacket with jeans and a t-shirt.
Right.
I just figured he really needed to go do his business and I continued to do my chores so I wouldn't get in any kind of trouble later. My work was interrupted when the man came out of the bathroom sounding like something really bad happened.
Oh.
"Excuse me, miss. I'm so sorry." He kept apologizing profusely. "I accidentally clogged the toilet and it's really bad."
You nasty fuck.
I reluctantly told him that I would clean it up and that he didn't have to worry about it.
I'm not cleaning shit
"I can
up.
clean it up. Do you have a plunger or something?" I told him that we had a plunger and again that he didn't have to worry about it. He kept insisting and I started to feel uneasy. I was beginning to think that he wasn't just insisting to be nice. I told him once again that I would clean it up and that it was my job. I started for the supply closet, which was right in between both bathrooms, and I thought that would be where the plunger was. He followed directly behind me. He opened the door to the men's bathroom and held it open. "Come on, I'll help you clean it."
Oh.
My heart started to pound and my head was screaming for me to not put one foot near that bathroom.
It's not shit.
I feel bad, just come in and we'll clean it. He wouldn't stop. I stepped back. I'll clean it, I just have to get my assistant manager. I stammered, starting to walk towards the office. He gave me this annoyed look on his face. I knocked on the office door and the guy was standing right by me. Dan answered the door and I told him I needed his help for something and that I needed him out front. At first, he almost locked the door back up, but I asked him again with the most scared look on my face. Dan, I really need you up here. I was so happy when he caught my signal. He walked up to the front and started engaging in conversation with the guy. The guy was telling him what was going on while I put on my gloves and snuck into the men's restroom. What I found gave me chills. He purposely stuffed paper towels into the toilet so it clogged up. There was nothing else in there. I walked out of the bathroom, shocked at my findings. My assistant manager turned his back and the guy looked down at me and smiled like a child finding the perfect toy. He was still apologizing for the bathroom and he brushed the back of his hand down my arm. I was shocked, but if I wasn't and in my right mind, I would have told him to keep his fucking hands off me.
Right.
He stuck around a little longer and eventually got gas. When he left, he smiled at me and walked out to his pump and kept looking back at me. I told my assistant manager what had happened and he was taken back by what I told him. Luckily, one of my regulars saw the guy getting talked to by the cops a few days afterwards and was told he wasn't allowed in the area anymore.
Oh.
I was relieved to hear that, but I still shudder when I think about what could have happened if I had went into the bathroom with him. I now keep pepper spray underneath my register at all times because you never know what could happen, day or night.
Fuck a pepper spray. Get your fucking Adidas. You're fucking bullshitting, bruh. See, this is why people keep getting their shit fucked up. They stay around until it's too late. You talking to motherfuckers that you have no business talking to. For real. Like, why are you talking to a complete stranger late at night? For real? You gotta use your fucking common sense. Like, I'm not gonna be there helping you out. You know? Say for instance, I'll give you an example. Say for instance, you know, me and a friend, it's late at night and we have to, you know, we're running low on gas and we have to go to the nearest gas station. Alright? And just like in that one of those stories, that a man just comes out of the fucking shadows, right? First of all, what the fuck are you doing in the shadows? That's question one, you know? But then approaches us, and I'm getting vibes like some negative, bad, very bad vibes from you. I'm getting my friend, and we're gonna go right back in the car. And we're just gonna hope and pray that we find, another gas station, because I'm not doing this I'm not for real, because I'm not about to end up in fucking Mexico. Like, come on, bro. No. I keep saying this, but if you're getting negative, bad, really bad, like, and then I was like, SupTho.
So it was late summer and I was working my first well-paying job at a gas station.
Right.
I'd done tons of under-the-table stuff like a bouncer and cleaning up bars when they were closed, but I had become really proud of the fact that I was working this hard. For reference, I'm a male and I was 19 years old at the time.
Oh.
Anyway, let's call this gas station I was working at the Mel Store. At Mel Store, we had 3 shifts. The morning, the afternoon, and the overnight shifts.
Grave shift.
Seems pretty standard for any store that would be working really hard to screw over their employees. What I mean by that is that there are usually supposed to be 3 people working on the first 2 shifts so that everything can be managed without much difficulty.
Right.
Except for the evening shift, which...
And then I was like, SupTho.
So, it was late summer and I was working my first well-paying job at a gas station.
Right.
I'd done tons of under-the-table stuff like a bouncer and cleaning up bars when they were closed, but I had become really proud of the fact that I was working this hard. For reference, I'm a male and I was 19 years old at the time.
Whoa.
Anyway, let's call this gas station I was working at the Mel Store. At Mel Store, we had 3 shifts. The morning, the afternoon, and the overnight shifts.
Grave shift.
Seems pretty standard for any store that would be working